Okay, so each ride is something unforgettable because each ride has a lot of unique experiences. But I mean, the most recent ride which was unforgettable was in the month of May. We had the opportunity to ride through the Bhadra Tiger Reserve, the Reserve Forest Road, through one of my friends' riding group, and that was totally an off-road experience. Like we had a group of around eight bikes, of which two were Himalayan, one was a classic, my Interceptor, a GT, and we also had a Super Meteor 650 with a pillion. And we actually never expected that the Royal Enfield bikes would perform so well. Especially the Super Meteor with the low ground clearance and all, but still, the experience was really amazing. It was pure off-road experience, and now, obviously, I had a good team with us who kept the pace properly, and I mean, it was a really pleasant. I mean, it's very hard to express in words. That ride has a special place in my mind. I would not say this is part of the ride which I went. I mean, I was not on a bike at that time, but last month we had an anniversary for one of the main clubs which I am part of. The Men and Gears Riders Consortium, and it was a second year anniversary program, and we literally had a group of around 80 members, of which around 35 were family members, like spouses and children, and we were expecting somewhere around 30 to 40, and the resort was overbooked and stuff. And I mean, it was a very perfect example of how an anniversary ride should have been done. I mean, family members were there, children were there, everybody loved it. The spirit and the spirit of the brotherhood, the spirit of the group per se, we could perfectly experience that. And best part is, like, the family members who had accompanied us, they were giving us more positive vibes and reviews of the experience than what we had. So it is not a ride per se, but the experience which we had was like the whole concept of having a riding group, which is which should be something close to us, like a brotherhood or a family. I literally had the experience of enjoying that. So that is something very special experience which I had recently. Okay, so I started riding motorcycles from 2007, and I started with an Apache 150cc, and almost till 2018 or 19 I was riding the 150cc, mostly within the city, and maybe some short trips to Pondi or some nearby places which is less than 100 kilometers. Then I started having the passion of riding the muscle bikes. I wanted to get into muscle bikes, so I was thinking of taking the Harley Davidson 650cc. Fortunately, Interceptor 650 happened, and 2020 I purchased the Interceptor. So it was like sort of love at first sight. And trust me, this is my first experience with Royal Enfield. I have not even driven a classic 350, or I don't have experience of driving Royal Enfield bikes before I purchased the Interceptor. Right now, I'm very much comfortable with the 650cc. With the, I mean, you can comfortably drive it with the city, or you can also use it for long drives. The longest I have ridden my Interceptor was twice to Goa. Last year during Rider Mania, from Bangalore to Goa, and again this year for the TVS Motor Soul event, which was again from Bangalore to Goa. So I would say, like, when you're choosing the bike, now your particular bike, you first have to decide whether you're taking the bike for a city ride, or for a comfortable cruise, for a highway experience, and based on that you can choose your ride. So for me, I am more of I would look at something which is more balanced. You can a bike which you can easily use it inside the city as well as for touring. So that is why I settled on the Interceptor 650. Okay, in terms of safety, as I said, the club which I'm associated with, the Men and Gears Riders Consortium, our club's logo or motto is Ride Responsibly. So, number one, whether you're riding inside the city, irrespective of where you're going, within the city or on the highway, you should ride responsibly. Number two is, like, my personal motto, and I would insist everyone, all the riders to follow, is like, you should know your limits and your capabilities. Just because the other person in the group, or the other person who's maybe riding beside you on the road, some random person is doing something with his or her ride, doesn't mean that you can do that. So there have been instances where I've seen people like riding in the guard sections, like people, you can see other people who are like taking a lot of fancy bends and all during the turns, right, curves, and they try to attempt that with their bikes, with their experience, and I have seen people crashing. So I would never encourage that. First, I would say you should know your limits. You should take time to understand your machine, your bike, especially if you are going for a new bike. So 2020, I purchased the Interceptor. For almost a year, I was not able to exactly get in sync or get in line with the feel of my bike. So the past 2 years and 3 years, I understand how I can push, or how the bike responds to my inputs, and based on that I'm driving. Number two is like, again, whenever or wherever you go, you should always insist on safety. Whenever you go, you join a club, you should always invest in good quality gears. You should have good helmets, you should have good riding jackets, you should have good gloves, you should have good riding pants preferably, or if you don't have riding pants, at least the knee guards, and a good pair of riding boots, which is very much essential for any sort of rides. You might think that the gears might be extra money or extra investment, it might be heavy, but trust me, I have seen cases where the gears have literally saved the lives of people when they have encountered crashes. And the market is, whenever you join a riding group, you get a lot of suggestions on what to go and how to buy. So depending on your budget, depending on your comfort level, you can decide, and you have to invest on riding gears. You can invest for a basic jacket, you can get a good jacket for 5,000 to 7,000, which might be bulkier when it comes to the weight. If you invest, say, 15 or 20,000, the jacket would be having the same level of protection, but it might be lighter. So I would suggest that before buying some riding gears, you can get in touch with your fellow riders, ask them for suggestions, go to the nearest showroom or the place where you can get the gears. You can try them on. Depending on your comfort and your budget, you can zero in, and you have to invest on jackets or riding safety gear, without which I would never advise people to step out. And the bottom line is, you should stick to your limits, and you should never get pushed because others are doing it, or you should never get pushed by the peer pressure saying somebody on Insta is doing it or somebody in your group is doing it. And please ensure that you join a group where this principle is followed. In a group, everybody should be, they say, right, the slowest person is the weakest link in the group. So the group should be in such a manner that everybody goes together and none should be left behind. There are certain groups where right, 20 people and like 10 people go separately, another 10 people go separately, 1 or 2 people straggle, they are left behind, and these sort of things happen. That is not the right place for you. If you see that you are part of a group which is like that, kindly avoid going on rides with them or search for something good. My current group, I'm very proud or happy to say that we ensure that from starting to ending, everybody are together and no one is left behind. There have been a few instances where we had some machine problems, like there were a few riders whose tires got punctured, or they had some major issues, like bearings got loose, and we had some unavoidable delays for the journey. But we ensured that everybody stuck together. Nobody was left behind. So this should be the ideal thing which you are looking out for when you are checking for a riding group. So I just say that I again emphasize saying that safety always matters, and it does not make a difference if you reach maybe 30 minutes or 1 hour late to the destination. It is always that you should be reaching the destination in one piece safely. As I said, like what you have to do is, like, first identify the right bike. Number 2 is invest on proper safety gears. Number 3, take time out to get accustomed or learn your bike, learn your riding style, learn your riding posture. Do not get influenced or copy other people's styles just because it is impressive. Just because the other person can drive 0 to 100 in 4 seconds doesn't mean that you have to do the same. You can always be a slow rider and still be part of the group. And the most important part is, like, when you join a group, ensure that the group is in sync with your objectives, and it should be a symbiotic relationship. It should not be a parasitic relationship. It should not be that you are the only person who's getting benefits from the group, or the group is getting benefited from you. It should be a bilateral relationship wherein you should also help the group. It should be something like a brotherhood, not a group per se. And once you get the right companions, once you get the right team, and once you get the right feel, you can slowly upgrade yourself. And the key word is never, never, never get influenced or get never get upset by the things what other people are doing. Never think that, hey, that guy can do this, why am I not able to do this? You can do the way you do, and you are the best in doing what you can do. Nobody else can do whatever you can do. You might be a long runner or a fast cruiser, but never compare yourself with the other people. Identify yourself, identify your skill sets, identify your comfort zones, and stick to that. Never get out of that, no matter what happens, no matter whatever pressure is on you, either from your friends or from social media or from your writing group. Stick to your comfort level, stick to your comfort zones. If you follow this, then it will be a very good experience for you as well as the club which you are part of. And never hesitate to quit any group or a circle or a club if you feel that you're not comfortable or you're not able to contribute enough. You can always speak to the admins, and you can give your expectations, you can share your feedback and the input, and based on that they can decide whether you can stay or whether they can improvise on the experience. But if you feel that you're not adding value or the club is deviating from your goals or your expectations, then you can always feel free to leave. You can always write alone. As I said, no, there is something which it's hard to describe in words. Once you sit on your bike, once you weigh your gears, and you just maybe a short stroll or a long ride, the pleasure which it gives, the sensation of this pleasure is something different. It's not like 0 to 100 or cruising on the highway. Riding safely and riding responsibly, enjoying the ride rather than getting from point A to point B. That is something which keeps me riding. In fact, there have been instances when I have been in Bangalore for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I land in Chennai on maybe Saturday night, somewhere around 9:30, 10 p.m. The first thing I do is I just go home, I just drop all my baggage, I pick up my helmet, I take my bike, and I just go for a short stroll inside the city just to have the experience of riding. And the stress busting which that gives is hard to explain in words. So it's something which has to be experienced to become a part of. And I also like riding cars, but they are totally different. These two, it's like comparing apples to oranges. But still, the pressure or the surge of hormones, the surge of nostalgia sometimes you get when you ride your bike is all that is keeping us go ahead. And when you're part of a club. So when you're part of a club, the club pushes you, or the club doesn't. I wouldn't say pushes you. It takes you along. It makes you explore places. You do a lot of sometimes you do CSR activities with the clubs. It's something which we do along with what we enjoy. So that is what keeps me riding every day, and hopefully my sons also would be. I would also be riding with my sons in the future, because they're also showing some signs of getting interested in riding.